Hello, this is Cryptolyze. I hope you are well this Sunday, September 10, 2023. Today we are going to talk about crypto. Today we are going to talk about altcoin. You are going to tell me, as always, yes, but we are going to talk above all about the opportunity that recessions in the USA potentially represent for us. I already made you a video last week on the different reload zones that you appreciated, and you offered me lots of cryptos that I had not been able to process, which is logical. And so this will be the second part in which we will return. We are going to return to areas which are opportune and which we will have to wait to get there. And mainly if we ever have a recession in the USA, we know that we will have an impact at the level of BTC, which will be rather mixed, but we will have a big impact on altcoins. And these are the areas in which we will potentially reload. So before we begin, three things. First of all, these are not necessarily cryptos that I own, and that is the case for the first video. And these are not necessarily cryptos that I will invest in personally. I took, in fact, the different cryptos that I usually deal with, and I defined through technical analysis and fundamental analysis, areas in which it could be interesting to invest. Long term, it's up to you to see which projects interest you and how you present them. Second point, this is my personal opinion on these reloading zones. It's up to you to form your own opinion regarding your analysis or the different people you can follow or the different analyses you follow. Third point, pay attention to your exposure. Obviously, the more you go into altcoins, the more you will go into the risky part of an asset that is already risky, which is cryptocurrency. We do not forget that cryptocurrency is one of the riskiest assets that exist, and altcoins are therefore assets that are even riskier because they are generally projects that are early, hence the interest when we have rewards, we always have risks. We must not forget that. The notion of risk is really predominant in your exposure. That being said, we attack directly with Uni, the crypto of Uniswap, a very large decentralized exchange, which is one of the main liquidity pools in the world of decentralized finance. We are not going to hide it, and therefore its token is in the form of lateralization for some time already. We made a batch here in June. For me, as it is happening, I think we will make an STB shortly to break this batch there, and that's exactly the idea of potentially even retesting 1.7 here. So the golden zone would be here from 3.6 to potentially 1.7. If we are really aggressive, we could really go for 1.7. So something that is really strong for potentially Uniswap, which would still take a big tart in relation to that, and which would be logical, because if we have an impact on Alcon, that implies that we will have an impact on all decentralized finance, and therefore Uniswap would necessarily be impacted. Next to it, we have SNX, therefore synthetics, which is a big player specialized in the design of synthetic assets. Here we have a form of SC and a small STB, which has been carried out, but which is really very light. For me, we really have a downward pressure here, which has been very strong for some time already, and we will have confirmation potentially even of a spring for a recovery of the STB. So we have as a target the 1.6 or even up to 1 at the gold zone. Then we have AKT, a cash. I made you a video not long ago. It's an asset that performed well with a big breakup. For me, it would be logical to go and retest the rupture zone here at 0.67 to potentially after sinking, sink to go and retest here the reaccumulation, which gave the previous acceleration before precisely redoing the rupture, which would be logical to review an AKT between 0.67 and potentially 0.26. There is a big delta, but which is logical because we have a very fresh injection of utility. If we ever have a form of capitulation, we risk sinking relatively hard. Then we sharpen the crypto of Filecoin, therefore Filecoin, which is a protocol specialized in the storage of decentralized files. So it's not just him, but he's one of the first, in which we still have a token which has a lot of difficulty in incentivizing users, finally storing them. Sorry for the protocol. So inevitably, we are going to have a downward pressure, which is very strong, and this is clearly visible, in which we have a lot which was posed in December 2022, with in particular the end of the dilution linked to FTX, and in which we retested here in June 2023. We could not really attack again. Although we did a small retest, I think that we are really in a bearish continuity. So we would have the possibility of an STB here with the break here of 0, of 5 to potentially attack here up to $1. Then we have Conflux, so the CFX, which has already given us a nice break. So we really have something that has really marked us. A really positive start to January, in which we made a first retracement, a second wave, third wave, and here we are rather at the end. I tend to tell you that we are in a form of stabilization, but we still have a lot of imbalance there. We have imbalance, which is located here. We have an order block zone before the acceleration bullish, which is given precisely at the break. It would be logical to go and retest this zone, and it corresponds precisely to my golden. zone, which starts here from 0.087 up to potentially here from 0.015. Then we have rows, therefore the crypto of Oasis. Oasis, which is a blockchain specialized in the notion of privacy with smart contracts which are encrypted in any case, which are in an encrypted enclave and which allows you to gain a part of privacy on the execution of decentralized applications. So for me, we still have once again a downward pressure, which has been very strong for some time already. We have a small break, but for me it is minimal, which is more of a hunt for liquidity. We can clearly see that behind it we have a BC, Arkansas, ST, SAO, Utah. So there we have more of a form of construction of a start of distribution that we could have with a bearish breakout. So here we are in what we could call a double top form with a breakout. So we are in a bearish continuity. I think we're going to retest this lot at least and potentially see a spring to get the 0.3 or even a little lower. So we'll really have to watch. Next we have UOS, Ultra's crypto. Ultra, despite its announcement, it is very, very difficult to remain bullish. We see that we had a big profit taking which overextended very strongly. We are unable to take off again. And even since the lowest, which was marked in June 2022, we have continued behind a plus low in October 2022 before FTX. And then we will continue to sink. We cannot get back above. We have breached this low and we see that we are heading towards the second liquidity zone, which for me is the golden zone on this liquidity outlet. So we would be in 0.1 or even a little lower in 0.8. We really have an EOS that can continue to sink in, which is rather logical here compared to the commercial approach that EOS can have, which takes time. We are moving forward with AXL, the Axelar token. Axelar, a large protocol specialized in interoperability, therefore which allows different blockchains to be directly interfaced in a way which is different from bridges. So we really have a solution which is very interesting, but which is not much diluted, in which we will have a lot of dilution, which will happen. So for me, the spot zone, well, the gold zone in any case, will be in 0.2 or even further down to 0.1. So you will have to be patient. Then we have Oneinch, therefore a protocol specialized in decentralized finance. It is a protocol aggregator, which has implemented a lot of things on the ability to carry out low-cost exchanges. And here we have something which is unfortunately still really in a form of descent, of dilution. We see it. For me, the targets are here in the vicinity of 0.15 up to 0.1. Once again, I think that we have to wait because we will really have to get feedback. There, we really don't have anything that is bullish. When we have this type of pattern, then it's not just the case of Oneinch, but there are also some in those that I presented to you. When we have something that is being diluted like that, we have to wait to have at least a reversal in something. There you go. A little break in structure to say that we are in the process of retesting and having validation with a second break. There, we will have a sign which will be positive. Unfortunately, this is not the case on Oneinch. We will see in the golden zone if we have a positive reaction. Then we have STX, the Stacks crypto. I made a video for you not long ago in which we have the spot zone. Logically, we have a big breakout zone, a big valuation. We is retracing first leg, reacceleration, second leg. So I think we're going to go here and fill the imbalance. We still have a little bit of imbalance left to fill and retest the low. Is that we would go to look for liquidity? Why not? Be interesting to have an STX. Hanging around below 0.25 up to potentially here 0.16. Next we have CHZ, Chilese's crypto. So I don't represent Chiliz, I present it regularly on the channel, but it's a blockchain specialized in entertainment in which we still have, despite the big valuation we had last year. We have a big profit taking and above all a big capitulation of people who had overexposed themselves. And we are going to retest here the lows, the lowest which had been carried out on June 2022. We have recreated here following the notion of securities on the CAG. It is not the CAG which was noted as securities, but it was the SEC which defined that they were going to attack the securities. We are here in a second capitulation, and I think we will easily have a third. Once again, it is not something which is positive. We will have to be patient, even if here we have an ST and potentially the construction of an STB here. There we have no short-term reversal, so we will have to be patient, and my golden zone is in the 0.035 and 0.017. Then we have EGLD, the crypto of multiverse Elron to Multiverx, which has still done a lot of harm to the brand, so we will have to wait. The positive will arrive, but it will still take time before arriving, and I think we can go look for an EGLD around 17 until potentially a retest of $10. So we really have a zone of capitulation to wait for, and then leave with a break of structure, always with that in mind. Then we have GRT, the crypto of the graph. The graph, which is a protocol specialized in the interconnection of data within blockchains and the structuring of this data. This is really something that is very important when we do decentralized finance or when we build a decentralized application, and in which the GRT is the utility token of precisely the graph. In which we had a big break-off structure, which is rather positive. We went to look for higher equity. And we see that we are in the process of sinking back. For me, I think that we are going to really retest this part. We see that we have already done a first retest here of the breakout zone. So we're going to look further down. We are going to look here potentially for the 0.06 until we look for the low liquidity. Go get the 0.03 really low. Then we have the VT, therefore VChain, which is the token of the protocol specialized in supply. And we are here in an approach which is also once again bearish. We see that we have something which is in the process of get diluted. We have no concrete reversal that is happening, so we will have to be patient. We have downward pressure, which is really very strong on the VT. So I think that we will certainly look for liquidity here, potentially recreate liquidity, redo that, re-break the equity to arrive in the golden zone, which is in 0.07 up to potentially 0.05. So really very low. Then we have the CKB, therefore the crypto of Nervos. Nervos, which is a blockchain specialized in scalability, which offers layer 0, layer 1, layer 2, all in a monolithic way. So something which is a bit of an all-in-one. Unfortunately, we are also once again hitting lows despite the fact that we went for higher liquidity here. We still had a big acceleration in February 2023, but we are in the process of capitulating here. So I think that we will validate the capitulation with the break here and here to get the liquidity of this wick, and therefore 0.02 up to potentially 0.015. So once again, a relatively low fall on these KB, although I think we could go for before 0.037. We then have to finish Ocean. Ocean is a protocol specialized in artificial intelligence, in which we had a big valuation at the start of the year, which is rather logical with the emergence of AI. And we are in the process of retesting the support here breakup that we had. So we are in something that is rather classic. We unfortunately have a downward pressure, which is relatively strong. We see that we have here highs, which are unfortunately lower and lower, and lows, which are lower and lower. We have here a consolidation pattern. I think we will quite easily find the 0.2 or even potentially search for the lowest, a retest of the lowest at 0.011. Therefore, for my golden zone. Once again, I end this video to remind you that these are areas here for strengthening. If you are ever interested in the project and you have an exposure capacity and you want to expose yourself to this type of project, pay close attention once again to how you control your exposure, namely that these are work areas. And if we ever have news that is more complex than what is expected, it is possible that we transparent these areas and that we go to look a little further down. Obviously, I will make update videos to warn you of this. In any case, if I readjust my zones, my golden zones, I will make an additional video for you. If I haven't covered a crypto that interests you, the comments section is at the bottom. And if you ever like this type of videos, a little like, it always supports me and it always makes me very happy. And we'll see you Monday morning for the daily at 7 o'clock.